Good morning, everybody. It's Kula Dula from RawStocks. We have another edition of our pre-market prep, and we are covering if this is really a breakout or is this set up for a false breakout on the market. So I want you guys to stay tuned, follow along with us as we break down the data that we are seeing this morning. Okay, so we have another little look here at SPY and SPX. The S&P here, you can see a super large candle came and actually touched into the gap here, the gap closure on SPX. It actually made a new high on SPY, but not on the SPX. Okay, and that it's kind of weird that you don't. Sometimes you see that divergence, but not often do you see that. So it is interesting to see that level. I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without those guys, we would not be able to produce this to you every single day. So make sure you utilize the links in my bio, description on YouTube to go check them out, show them a little bit of love, get your free trials, and yeah. So, all right. So yes, SPX did not make a new high. SPY made a new high. And sometimes we get those diversions, but not very often. The data that we're seeing here. Oh, before we get into data, let's go ahead and pop in. It is Monday, so let's do a little calendar update here. So this morning we have new home sales that will drive like home builders this morning, but should not drive the majority of the market. Okay, so that's your big mover here today at 9 a.m. On Tuesday we have consumer core durable good orders. This is going to be important. You need to focus on this. And then we're also going to have, consumer confidence and the Richmond Manufacturing Index drop at 9 a.m. Those will be a potential pre-market mover and then a potential post-open mover right here. So keep an eye on that. Here's your big dog for the week. Prelim GDP, okay? This is going to be a big time deal here because I think this is a potential rug pull here, okay? And this is why I think this. GDP came in pretty decent in the past, but we had what I believe is a little boost off of people trying to come in and buy stuff before the tariffs. Now, we're starting to see a month past the tariff deadline. We're going to see how that has impacted everyone's spending this month. I think this has potential to really be a rug pull that everyone's front loaded their purchasing in the previous quarter, and then we're getting our first month's worth of GDP in the quarter, and we're seeing a potential. They have this at 3.1%. I don't see a chance that's going to hit. I would be shocked. I'll go over something on a Spaces or something about something I saw here locally, but I'd be shocked if this hits. Shocked. So quote me on that one. Come back and tell me, tag me on your X post or whatever when that drops and say, hey, you were right or you were wrong. I don't care. Core PCE price on Friday, another big one. And then personal income and personal spending is one of my favorite ones. However, it doesn't deem it as a big market mover, but it does. All right, so that's it for the week. All right, so massive day off of Jay Powell talking. We swung some 652 calls on SPY on Thursday. It really went bananas. We virtually closed right here at this level here. At the open, the close, this was a pretty distinct level here at 643. And then it ultimately did start to push up, or maybe it was 644. And then it started to push up a little bit higher and got to about that 646 level. Now we're seeing it kind of open a little bit back below that. Is this going to act as a strong bullish candle that would hold this, and maybe we get an inside upper day, right? So let's see what the data says. So currently, full complex, call dominated. We're starting to see 6,600 grow. It's not as substantial as this 6,500 wall. I do not think we will get over 6,500 this week. I do not think we'll get over 6,500. I think this wall is too large. I think this little call spread here that they have, we won't get over the top of that. All right. Not for this week. I think next week we have a chance, but not for this week. If we do get over the top of it, watch for it to be drawn down below that by the end of the week. Let's put it that way. All right. All right. So for today, we have a really big draw towards 6,500. But right now, it's currently sitting at a transitional area at 64.55. You have the low set up really at 64.40 on SPY, or excuse me, on SPX here. So let's flip this over. Let's go to our main chart. Let's go to SPY. Let's see where we're at. Kind of sitting right here at this little area of demand down here. And let's see where that lines up. It kind of lines right here. So these data's, this information is correct right here. So we're going to see a potential open up near this negative shelf here at 64.50. If we find ourselves underneath 64.50, watch for a push down towards 64.40 here. 64.40 for this to hold. If we lose 64.40, it'll likely be a large sell or a large volatility move down and then a recapture. I'm going to show you something interesting here in a second. Stay tuned on that. But we're looking for calls down here until proven otherwise. If we start seeing this break below 64.40, fine, so be it. Otherwise, we're looking for calls. You can look at this in two different ways. You can look at this. This is going to create a range between these two, or you can look at this as the potential extension towards 6,500. Okay, but this is the prime setup here for buying the dip. And if we lose 64.40, then that is where you should say, all right, we're out of our bullish position. We're going to see what this wants to do for the day and wants to see if it wants to drop. But if it recaptures over the top of 64.40 quickly, that's a good sign that you're likely to go retest this area, and this will be a good take profit like TP1. And then let's see if you get the extension up towards the supply area and then potentially all the way up to 6,500. All right. The real interesting thing today is SPY. Okay. And we're going to have a little bit of a reverse look here on SPY. So full complex here remains put dominated. Okay, so that's an interesting look that it's put dominated here. We do have some shorts right to the downside, but there's some cash scared puts being sold into this. So it is not full blown shorts, but we do have some targets below here. You can see just like up here, we have some calls being sold, but this is a mixed bag here. Let's put it that way, but it is put dominated. Ultimately is put dominated. And here's the thing. We have a much larger pull down towards 640 here. Okay. So a huge draw for us to come down towards 640 today on SPY. So as we get into this slippery zone where we're talking about on SPX, if we lose this, 640 will likely bring us down towards, where's that match up towards? Right around a little bit higher on that. So that puts us right around that 64.20, 64, right in this range right here. Okay, so keep an eye on 64.20 to virtually 64.15 for a potential bounce off of that. But if we lose this low side of this, that's probably a decent short underneath 64.40 to draw it down towards that 64.20 and into that 64.15 area for a potential reversal. All right. All right, now let's take a look at Tesla today. So that was a really nice move. We talked about this on the expected range. We talked about holding 320 would give you a move towards 330 and potentially a squeeze up towards 340 where we'd find resistance. And man, we call that exactly. Really wish I would have been able to get into just straight Tesla calls. But truth be told, I would have been all out here at 330 most likely. Just most likely would have been the case. Wouldn't have been sitting into this for the whole time. All right, this is the data on Tesla this morning. We are call dominated here, so still remain positive to the upside. We have a ceiling here on the full complex here at 350. They start dialing into this week. We're still call dominated. 350 remains the upside here, and we do have some decent targets to the upside. But right now, 350 is the beast here, so to speak. 315 to the downside, transitional area at 330. So let's remap this for us. So 350 becomes the ceiling. Let's get rid of this. Tesla 330 transitional area. So over 330, we're looking bullish, 327.5. Starting to look bearish, and then we could see this thing come all the way down towards 315 at that low. Okay. So this is the map here. You know that I don't like this area here. If you've been following me, we are not interested in anything here. This is dead man. This is a dead man zone here. All right, we're in bullish area. We're in a bullish area, but there is no relative support here. You're not going long here. You're waiting for a visit towards 330, potentially. If you miss this move, then so be it. You'd rather be short at 350 than you would long at 340. Okay. All right, so plan is wait for 330, watch for it to bounce off there and show some type of hold or momentum coming off of that. And if you do see that, feel free to try to get long for 350. If you see it break below 330 and really get below 327, that is where you need to be concerned that this is likely going to pull back towards 320 and 315. NVDA earnings this week, right? Yep. So the 28th, Wednesday, this is going to be a big deal for us. So currently sits at 177. It's kind of amazing to me that NVIDIA on a day like that we couldn't get back over the top of 177.5 to press towards 180. We had this virtually a wall right here at 177.5, and it held it here virtually. Okay, so we had our wall right here at 177.5. We got to it, and we held and held and held and held and held. And we tried to play a little short on this thing, see if it wanted to roll over to 175, and it didn't. But you know, it just virtually chopped there at 177.5. Let's take a look at the data for this week. These are juiced. These option premiums are going to be juiced this morning. You need to be aware of that. Make sure that if you're playing these, they're not for swings. They are for scalps, or just play the industry, right? Play AMD or something based on what you're seeing here on Confluence. But let's take a look at what we're kind of seeing. So upside is 200 for earnings for me. Upside is 200 for earnings. Downside would be probably closer to 150 on the downside. Okay. 150 on the downside. Looking at this week, right now it's got 170 to 185. So realistically, this has changed dramatically here. Okay. So this is going to come up all the way to 185 this week. Let's see, 185. We have our positive gamma wall up at 185. Positive gamma support here at 175. Move this guy. And transitional at 172.5. All right. So what this means is that if we sell down off of 175, you love that buy. to try to push up towards 185. But again, premium is going to be juiced. You need to think about that. It is going to just theta will kill you, and the IV drop will kill you later on the week. Okay, so you need to be very cautious of that. But if you want to play like leverage shares or something like that, you could do that, and knowing that this is going to add that potential to bounce off 175 up to 185. All right. Everything looks like potentially a sell down before a sell up, like a confirmed sell down, sell up. Where we're at on SPX and SPY, like I said, a little weakness right here. If we slip this, it could be a puts at open opportunity here for us to really drive us down towards 64.40 on this. I'm not going to update my chart, but you know what it is. It sends us all the way down to 640. Definite potential here for that, but watch that 64.40 area here on the gamma wall here to act as support. If we lose that, set that up on your alerts. If we lose that, that's probably a puts at open, and we slide all the way down towards this 64.20, 64.15 area before we find a bounce. Okay. It's happened multiple times on moves like this, multiple times that we revisit off here and then we rocket right back off it. Okay. So I've seen it numerous times, especially with like FOMC, stuff like that. So, all right. So that's going to cover it for today. I want to go over something real quick. Make sure you guys are subscribing, retweeting this. If you're seeing it on X, if you're on YouTube, like it, share it, thumbs up, do all the interactions, right? We have a $7 7-day little promo going on right now. It is a non-subscription based. You join it for $7. You get full access for 7 days. And then if you want to join back up, you'd have to resubscribe. But if for 7 days to get full access to what we do is insane, y'all. Just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure you join us at rawstocksllc.com. Or you could visit us on our actual direct link from my bio or on YouTube. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. And until tomorrow, we'll catch you later.